It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. Wow, it's taken us a while to get this program going today, but I'm so excited. You know, it's going to be a fantastic show. So thank you for all of you that have been patient with us today. If this is your very first time, a huge welcome to you. The Divas That Care is now on its 11th season, and we are listened to in over 30 countries around the world. And it's because of all of our amazing listeners that we've continued to do this program, and we've been able to expand to what we are today. So a big thank you to all of you out there. Well, today's guest we're going to be welcoming to our family is Monica DeRuzzo. And Monica is, oh my goodness, an absolutely inspiring woman that I am beyond excited to have her on the Divas today. So Monica, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be with you today. Thank you again.
I'm so happy that we were finally able to get this program going today. And Monica, one of the things that I usually ask our guests before we start kind of diving into things is if they could spend a couple of minutes kind of telling us who they are and a little bit about themselves.
Well, my story goes all the way to Czechoslovakia. I came to United States in 94, and the rest is history. Been in this country since 1994. I came on a running scholarship, worked for 3M, had a dream job, and then life took us to Cincinnati, where I got my real estate license about 17 years ago, and I have been helping families buy and sell homes and, you know, fulfill their American dream. So I couldn't ask for a better journey than that.
Oh, my gosh. I love that. And what an inspirational story. You know, you and I had talked before, and moving to the United States was a huge thing for you. And I kind of, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about that, because that in itself, I love it. I love hearing stories like that will inspire others.
Well, when you come across the ocean to the different country, every country has different education systems, different policies and procedures in place. So when I came to United States, I already finished my MBA. I went to one of the best schools in Europe, and back in 94, we didn't have universal education system where you could compare colleges and say, how good is your school from this country versus what we have in the United States? So I kind of had to recalculate my route and start over. The blessing was I was a pretty good runner, so I was able to get running scholarship because there's no way my parents from Eastern Europe could afford American school tuition. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the blessing was my running helped me to, you know, get a college education in the United States and kind of start over. So I had to sit back, recalculate my route instead of, you know, continue on my journey, having MBA in hand and go back to school, which, you know, it's really humbling when you have MBA to kind of start over because nobody knows how good your education is. But in the long run, I always tell my kids it's the investment in your future, and sometimes you have to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. So that's how I look at my education. I believe in the highest level of education. It's knowledge is power, and you know, looking back, I would highly encourage everybody to do the same.
I love that. And I love those words of wisdom because I think it's really important, you know, to understand that. A lot of people, I don't think they realize the importance of that.
Well, and it's continual education. This world we live in changes so rapidly every day. Mm-hmm. So if you're unwilling to invest in yourself and your education and wisdom, you're going to be falling behind. I mean, I'm in the real estate business, but we constantly taking continual education classes in today's and age. You know, we're learning, okay, how do we do social media? How do we do YouTube? And, you know, I didn't see computer until I was 24 years old. So, you have to constantly invest in yourself and learn and keep up with the trends and markets, what's happening. Read books, educate yourself, listen to podcasts, listen to the radio shows. Learn from the best because it expedites your learning curve.
That it does. I've had mentors over the years that have always said that. Make sure that you spend a lot of time on yourself because, investing in yourself is one of the most important things that you can do.
Absolutely, and find people who have done this before you. I've been selling houses for over 17 years. I got my real estate broker license in 2018. I left RE/MAX, joined EXP about 18 months ago, and now I pour back into this, new generation of real estate agents. I coach them, I teach them, I go on listing appointments with them just to help them to go to the levels I've been to. And same for me. I just finished the coaching call. I do have a coach who helps me to go to my next level because, there's always next level for each of us, no matter how big or how high you are.
Isn't that the truth? I think some people think that when you get to this level, it's done. And realistically, there's no ending. There's always something more that you can achieve.
Oh, absolutely. I ran competitively all over the world, and I still run. I coach kids, and, I tell them you don't use it, you lose it, so it's same for brain. You don't use it, you lose it. So, just keep going.
And one of the things that you love to do is to mentor other people, in this journey. And do you find that a lot of, this is a question I have, is do you find that a lot more women are getting into real estate?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's still fairly men-dominated business because, real estate, it's hard on women and families. You put a lot of hours. You go 7 days a week. We work evenings. In the past, it was concern for your safety. I remember starting the business, and my husband was worried, you just go out, show houses to the strangers. Well, my feedback to people was, somebody would have to outrun Monica to get me, right? Because I trained for Olympics, so I'm pretty fast. But, safety was concerned. So I think in the past we have seen less women in this profession, but it's changing. There's a lot of young girls coming to the business, and they're excited, and they're changing, the way real estate is conducted. So it's very exciting to watch the new wave, the new generation.
I love that. And you have, obviously you've said that you've learned so much over the years. And one of the things I was inspired by you is when we had talked the other day is that you had started a podcast. And this podcast was about people's lives. And can we talk a little bit about that? Because I want to do a big shout out to that so that our listeners go and check that out.
Absolutely. So I have been approached with the American Dream TV show about 4 years ago. We did a TV show, very successful, where we featured local properties, lifestyle with a real estate flavor for a couple of years. And then I was approached by the producer of the TV show to start podcasts. And I'm a firm believer it is in giving that we receive. So for me, doing podcasts, I want to do something more meaningful than just, real estate, which I love. And, I'm so blessed to be in the best business in the world. But I want to feature stories of the people to inspire others. So my slogan for my business is, let's make it happen. So we use that slogan, let's make it happen, and turn it into the podcast that we name They Made It Happen. And the main and ultimate purpose of that podcast was to bring people who survived cancer, who fought in war for us and lost legs or arms, or business entrepreneurs who lost everything in order to start a business, or single mom who was struggling to pay the bills. And the purpose of that podcast was to inspire others, because in today's day and age, we all go through valleys, ups and downs, and you have a bad week, bad month, bad year, and people just quit. And so I want to bring these stories to the public eye, because if you go through breast cancer, it's a long journey, but it's attitude and it's your willingness to fight until the end. And, so we feature people who went through bottoms in their lives, but they made it happen.
Oh, my gosh. And what is the name of your podcast? Because I know our listeners are absolutely enthralled now.
Well, it's under Monica Dietersell, and it's called They Made It Happen. And
Excellent.
It's on Spotify and all these good channels where you tune in. We need to resume. The podcast was stopped right before COVID, so we haven't recorded since March 2020. But we're planning to resume podcast back in September. So if anybody has any inspirational story and wants to be featured, let's reach out and make it happen.
Oh, I love that. What I'm going to do for all of our listeners is that I will be posting that information on our social media sites so that you guys can check her out. I love the idea of these podcasts are absolutely brilliant. I want our listeners to check them out and be inspired. But also, I know that there's a lot of our listeners that would love to be on your program. We've had so many amazing guests on the Divas That Care that their stories would be perfect for you. So thank you so much for putting that offer out there for our listeners.
Absolutely.
Monica, one of the things, we're talking about your journey, going into real estate. And one of the questions I have for you is, what made you decide to go into real estate? That is a big thing. Like you've got all this education, you've done all these things. Why did you decide to go into real estate?
Well, I think with God's sense of humor, I had the best job in the world, and I don't think I would ever dare to leave my corporate job with 3M. I was surrounded with the best people in business, just amazing opportunity, amazing company, the leadership, and everything 3M, have done for me. So we got transferred from my husband's job to Cincinnati, and because I came from Europe, the real estate in Europe is, people in Europe just don't move. You build your house and you stay there forever. My grandma is 92, and she built her house when she was 21, and she still lives in the same place. So when I came to the United States, I was always intrigued with the real estate. And so when we moved to Cincinnati, this was our 2 years, relocation, and I knew I was going back to my corporate job with 3M, so I just got my real estate license mainly for my personal understanding and also to help my kids when the time comes to help them with the real estate transaction. And the rest is history. I fell in love with the business and people and helping people fulfill the American dream, and I've been doing this for 17 years.
Oh, wow. And you know what? I'd like to mention something, Monica. I've heard that quite a bit from real estate agents, that it's something that it's almost like in their blood. They've enjoyed it so much. They feel like they're helping so many people, and they've just really loved it. And, I think that's a fantastic career. And I think a lot of our divas that are listening would be excited to learn more about that.
Well, and, I was working for 3M. I did business-to-business sales. I did domestic sales for 3M as well as international. I speak 5 languages. But what's amazing about real estate versus business-to-business sales, business-to-business sales, it's a long selling cycle. You sell to big corporations, and you work on these sales for 12 months, 2 years, and it's, millions and millions of dollars of sales. But it's a long-term sales cycle, long-term a relationship versus buying and selling homes is personal. You get somebody keys to the house within, 45 days. You see people in tears when, they had a bad credit. Yeah. We repair credit, and then you hand them keys, or somebody's getting relocated for dream job. I mean, it's so personal. So if you care about people, I love people, just holding their hand from start to finish and making it happen. In this market today, it's multiple offer situation. You have 17 offers on the table, and having your buyer win that multiple offer situation and position them to get keys to the house just 2 weeks before baby comes. I have chills just thinking about it. And it's just so personal. Like, it doesn't get any better being in any sales than buying people or selling people's homes. And that's why I stayed in it for so long. And every day I wake up, I'm so excited because there's never a dull moment. In real estate, you just never know what your day is going to bring, who's going to call you, who needs your help. And, I position myself not just as a real estate person, but people call me, I need a roofer. I had 2 clients today text me, I need cleaning lady. So we don't provide the services, get you keys and, just voila. we dare to, provide services on an ongoing basis. And it becomes very personal. I go to people's funerals, weddings, graduations. We've been busy this summer with graduation. So, you become part of people's lives and families, and that's a blessing. You extend your family beyond your own family with the clients you serve over the years.
What an amazing way that you've just described it. I've never had anybody describe it just like that. And it brings almost tears to your eyes because it's so personal and so emotional that, you really put yourself into these people's lives. And I think that makes the difference between a good real estate agent and a not so good real estate agent.
Mhm.
I love that.
Well, just like every field, we have good people in everything. In media, in sports, in business, in financial advising and insurance. It's just, I think if you find your passion, it's contagious, and people know it. Like you genuinely care.
Yes, and I can see that that's what motivates you to keep going each and every day.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you've talked about, too, is coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think that is something that is a lot more people are wanting to be a part of. They're wanting to learn from others. They're wanting to be a part of a system because it's hard to do it on your own. And I've always been a big promoter of mentorship and, getting that support outside of your regular circle. So what is it that, perhaps for our listeners, do you offer?
I think when it comes to coaching, it's giving back. Sometimes it's just sitting there and listening to people. So when we bring new agents to the real estate group, we there for whatever their needs are. Sometimes it's helping with the buyers, sometimes with the sellers, but sometimes it's just for them to have a second opinion. Hey, what should I do? I coach agents on a daily basis, but also I do have a personal coach. It's just like you can't give without, having it in you. It's just like when you sit on the plane and you go into emergency state, you have to put mask on you first in order to save others. So I believe in order for me to give to others, I have to continue to refill myself with wisdom and knowledge and expertise to be able to pass it to the next generation.
That's excellent. I love that. And that makes you one of the best. So Monica, what is it that is happening next for you? Is there anything big and exciting, anything you want to share with our listeners today?
Well, I think, the real estate market is on fire. We're helping buyers, buying and selling home. But for me, the most exciting part of my daily operation right now, we're growing my EXP Elite Group, and we're growing beyond Cincinnati borders. I can't wait for the world travel to reopen. I used to be in international business with 3M, and I can't wait to bring the fastest growing real estate company from the United States and open its own branches in my home country, in my Eastern Europe region. And that's, I think, what, inspires me every day. Once I can get on the plane and start hopping between cities in Eastern Europe and start introducing what we're doing with EXP all over the globe, I just can't wait for that. So I'm very excited, and God's willing, everything works out. I should be heading to Europe at the end of summer, early fall. So we're hoping for the best, that the restrictions don't get lifted, and that's where we're going to go next.
That is very exciting, and what a fun thing to be able to do.
Oh, absolutely. It's like when you find the best thing that works for you and your family and for agents around you in the United States. We have opened 17 countries so far with EXP all over the world, but it's like you want to bring it to everybody. It's like when Apple launched the phone, it just kind of spread all over the world, and that's how I feel about what we do with EXP. We provide so much value and benefits to the agents. You want every agent in the world to be at least introduced to what EXP can do for them and their business. And me speaking multiple languages, I just can't wait to, get on the plane and go and, I'm person to person. I prefer meeting people face to face, hug you, and let's talk about, what EXP can do for you and your family. So pretty excited, hoping it's going to continue to grow the way we predict with EXP, and I can't wait to be part of this big movement.
Oh, I love it. And I can't wait for you to share that with our listeners when you get closer to that date, because we would love to have you back on our program for sure.
Oh, I would be honored. I would be honored to share, how we're doing on our EXP growth and journey, and just to empower others and bring some positivity into, in today's negative world. With pandemic and what we have experienced in the last 18 months, there's so much, cloudiness over this world. We all need some rays of sunshine and hope and positive energy out there.
Oh, I completely agree. Oh, my goodness. I love that, Monica. And last thing that I want to ask you is, do you have any tips or tools that you can share with our amazing divas out there?
I think, with me starting from ground zero, my first year in real estate, I sold one house. Next year, 5 houses. People told me this is never going to work. Just don't quit. Don't persevere. Don't listen to people who are bringing negativity in your life. If you have dreams, just go and pursue it. I was #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Ohio for the last 8 years, but I started with one transaction my first year. And if I listened to all these people around me telling me it's not going to work, I would have quit after, 2 years in the business. And, my husband begged me. He's like, I don't think, honey, this is going to work. And I said, what makes you think it won't? So I think, just stay focused, stay in your lane, and pursue your dreams, because if it's in your heart, you were designed to go and get it. So I just always believe, I tell my kids, set your goals and go get it, because, God put it in your heart for a reason. And if you truly do your part, work hard, and be consistent and persevere, because at the end, it always works out. People just quit too early.
Oh, Monica, thank you so much for those words of wisdom. I have had a blast with you. Thank you so much for being my amazing guest today.
Oh, thank you for blessing me and to be on your amazing show. If I can be of any additional value to anyone, my direct number is 513-289-1039. If anybody wants to DM me or text me, if they want to be my guest on podcast or just need any uplifting advice, just reach out and, let's help each other.
I love it. And for all of our listeners, I will be posting the amazing, inspiring Monica DeRuzo on all of her information, because I think it's really important for you to look at it, but also to share it with your friends and family. That's what it's all about, is the collaborations that we are able to do within this program. So thank all of you for doing that, continuing to really, be the inspirations out there, because you're the ones that are able to connect our guests with the people that they're needed to connect with. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing out there. Monica, as I said, it was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure for having our amazing guests come on this program, and I'm always looking forward to chatting with them again. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you, Monica, in the future here.
Thank you for everything. Cheers.
Thank you. And thank you to, as I said, to all of our listeners. It's because of you. We have been doing this for 11 years. So thank you guys so much. I hope that all of you have a fantastic day. If you want to check out all of our recorded calls, go to divasthatcare.com, and you can listen to all of our other amazing hosts. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a great day. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.